Welcome.
Welcome to the Sispatch. My name is Bevin, and this is my sister.
Jasmine.
And we're gonna do something. It's not really different. It's just. Can you go to your bedroom? He is just keeps running back and forth. He's being so annoying.
Oh my
Kids,
gosh.
am I right? Okay, so today, usually my sister is the one that comes up with topics and outlines.
First of all, I miss one I don't miss I miss the mark on one episode, and all of a sudden
And
all
you
of a
take
sudden-
3 weeks off.
and
And all of a sudden,
and
you cannot
sorry.
function.
I'm still here though. At least I didn't quit.
You're close. I can tell. You're like, this is too much. She almost ditched me tonight. Actually, that I can't say that it's your fault because I sprung it on you very last minute. So,
But I'm I'm here. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you look like that?
Because I was like, why am I eating? I'm podcasting. Sorry, viewers that are listening and hear me chew. I'm
No,
hungry,
don't be
okay?
sorry.
Okay.
It's fine.
It is a little late, so we're gonna just hop right into today's episode that I was like, I felt inspired to talk about this subject.
Okay.
So anyways, we're going to be diving into our creative journey
Oh
on
God.
this week's episode. So what that means is like how we started, what we're doing now, and where we want to go with our like creativity. So we kind of talked about how we got into the industry as far as like getting jobs and whatnot. But I kind of wanted to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Okay.
So some topics that we're gonna be discussing for those that like knowing what's gonna be coming up: childhood design memories, if we have any, first jobs, and what we would tell our younger creative selves. Okay.
I like
That's
how you
one for
actually
you.
go over it. I should take notes.
You should take notes for yourself.
Yeah, for future podcasts when I come up with topics, because most of the time I don't give you the answers or the questions ahead of time. I like wait until I'm right about to ask
So my
them.
sister doesn't know anything that I'm going to be asking either. I have the outline here in front of me. So if I'm looking over there, it's the outline. Just
And
so you guys know.
it's more often than not, it's me the one that has the outlines, which is why I'm the one's like, okay, the next question is.
Yeah.
But your
Okay,
topics
so are
sound
you
great.
ready?
Let's get started.
Do you want me to start or do you want to start?
You're doing it today.
Okay,
'Cause
so
you
we're
got
going to
the
start
outline.
at the very beginning, our creative beginnings. And when I say creative, it may be different for the both of us. My creative, it was I'd have to say, well, we both watched Dad do his like photo editing on what was it called? The software that he used. Do you even remember?
I
It's like
have no
Photo
idea.
Studio Pro or something. It was like some random like software that he got. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the name of it, but it was like a Photoshop dupe. And he like learned a lot of like the tools, and he like I would just sit. I remember because we all shared one computer and it was in their bedroom, so I would just sit on the bed and watch him like edit his photos or like create, because it wasn't just like editing photos, it was like you can create stuff too, like create graphics or like add like things, not like clip art. I
It's
mean
like paint adjacent.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Anyways, that's how I started, like just kind of getting interested in like graphic design and like the creative space. But once I hit, I would have to say probably middle school, that's when like I started personally dabbling in like HTML and like Photoshop. Um, and that had a lot to do with social media. And this is not social media like we think of today, Instagram, TikTok. I'm going to age myself real quick. It was Xanga. It was MySpace. Creating on Xanga, you created your whole layout, like everything from top to bottom. And MySpace was very similar to that, where you can customize everything, like borders, whatever. And a lot of the times how I learned was like reverse engineering somebody else's code. So you would say like, oh, this person has like a really cool like I don't know what they used to call them, plugins for their MySpace, and
The
sometimes
backgrounds. That's
they
all
would
they would call
have a
them.
link to the coder, whoever developed that specific code for, like, a graphic or, like, a, like, animation or something, so you can click on it, and then sometimes it would be free. This is before people even charged for, like,
Their work.
their work. I mean, I'm sure there are some people that did, but then a lot of people like us, like teenagers, they just, like, put it on the internet, and people were just copy pasting. Anyways, I would copy the code because it's free. It's not like they were charging it. Guys, I'm not like that, okay? I'd copy the code, and the way that you learn is like, "Oh, I wanna change the color of these stars that are falling on my page to, like, purple instead of pink." So I had to, like, look through the code and, like, figure out, "Oh, okay, this is color equals, and then these numbers are the color that coordinates to these stars, so I have to update that." Or if I want to link something, I have to use a href. Like, you just learn these things as you go along, and that's what really, like, got me interested in like how the internet works, how graphic design works. And like I would just do like small little creative things for myself or like for my friends that were like wanting like a birthday invitation or something. Like they're like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can actually." And it wasn't anything that I was charging for. I just really found joy in like being able to figure out how things worked and make it work the way I want it to work if it didn't
Mhm.
already. Um Even Tumblr too. Were you a Tumblr girl?
I was a Tumblr girl. I don't know if I was as invested into Tumblr as some other people. I think I was more on the reposting side of Tumblr and
Mm.
like more for there for the vibes and the
Yeah,
comedic
Tumblr
part
too.
of it.
They had, I don't know if it's still like that, probably not. They used to have it where you can like customize everything with
Mhm.
basic CSS, HTML, or like
Mhm.
coding like that too. So that's how I got started in just like how I knew I was interested in the field. But I never thought like maybe I did actually. Maybe I thought like I really would love to do something like this as a profession. I just didn't know how to get into it. But that's how
Well,
I got interested into it.
I actually remember like talking with you when we were really young and like there was these wide range of like what would your dream job be answers that you would give me like teacher, like some random stuff, right? And I think at the time when we were younger, like there was not a lot of like digital creators or like that. It wasn't a thing. We've talked
It
about
wasn't
that
a thing.
before. So
Hmm.
like it wasn't really on your radar, but like I remember having a conversation with you and you're like, it'd be cool to just like do like this. Like it's easy. Like it's
Yep.
just easy enough to do it. And I remember being like, yeah, like what world is that?
Yeah, and a lot
What
of my
world will
friends
that
too,
live in?
they'd be like, "How did you do that?" I'm like, "I just, X, Y, and Z." And they're like, "Huh? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? Like, you have time to do that?" I'm like, "It only takes like 5 minutes. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine."
Yeah. I
But
remember having that.
what was your experience like? What did like I don't remember you when you were growing up. I don't remember you really tinkering with the computer like me. Let me back up a little bit. So our single computer that our parents got was like a Windows 98. I don't even remember.
Hmm.
But I, as many of my fellow millennials know, I'm sure, I was in charge of all of it. The internet, the printer, the computer, the peripherals. If something broke, they came to me to fix it. So I know that I tinkered around with the computer a lot, not just like the graphic design software, but the computer itself. I don't really remember you tinkering with the computer so far as maybe you played like little video games, like educational video games that our parents got, but like you would rage quit those too. So
No.
like
Well, yeah. I
what
mean,
was
yeah.
your but okay, go ahead. You share your story.
No, so that's your recollection of it. But the recollection that I have is that I could not use the computer. Why?
'Cause I was
Because
hogging
you
it.
were either on it or mom was on the phone or it was like a whole thing. And for those that don't understand, I'm sure there's people that mostly everyone probably understands. But when you had dial-up internet, you couldn't call
Mhm,
someone from your home phone because you didn't have cell phones all that often.
mhm,
You couldn't call someone from your home phone while
mhm,
using the internet. It was like one or the other. So like if my mom was talking to her sister or calling this that or talking to this person or if they were waiting for a phone call,
mhm,
like we couldn't use the computer or sorry, rather the internet at all. And really the only thing that I had to do on the computer other than like the most random
Like a game
things.
for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't even do that because sometimes the games would require like me to connect to
Or update that
the
we couldn't run.
yeah. And so a lot of the times the only thing that I could do was just hang out in paint. And I
Mm.
to be quite honest, if you're talking about like design wise and like my start of design, that's not where I got it. What I would do in paint is I would just try to color the whole screen like red or something like that. And when not using the dump or the paint bucket tool, it was a struggle out here
I
to
do
try to keep
remember,
myself
I don't know if it was
entertained.
paint, but I remember you at one point, it was a software and you did like a garden scene or something. Like you just drew like a little like flower
It
thing
was
and
paint.
then you're like, "Sis, look." And I looked at it, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Just like or I didn't even
Took
say
me
that's
like
cool.
3
I didn't even
hours.
like validate it. I was just like, "Oh, okay." Like,
Yeah, and it was like
that's
a
nice.
masterpiece. It took me so long to create, and as the younger
Oh my
sibling
gosh,
just
Bear
gets
is
the
digging in his
passive.
bed again. Sorry,
He's
everybody
getting
that hears
anxious.
that. It's the dog trying to bury his toys
Ah.
in his bed. He's fine. But
Um,
okay, so paint wasn't it, so keep going.
no, so, I mean, if we're talking creativity, I'm gonna leave it fairly broad. I'm not as creative as you in that aspect. I think my creativity kind of is in a different realm as yours, not as far as, like, it's higher or anything, but I think creative my creative mindset is more on the like general pictures, whereas yours more on the detail. So, for
Yeah.
instance, and what I mean by that is while my sister is wanting to create code and beautiful stuff that she can create online or on Xanga or whatever, I'm out here making
Like paper.
an event
Yeah,
planner portfolio
like
because I'm
physical. Mhm.
yeah. So I would get like scrapbook stuff and like
Mhm.
make physical things. And like I remember one of the jobs I really wanted when I was younger was to be an event planner,
Mhm.
because I really just enjoyed parties and like I wanted to
Scrapbooking.
see
Mhm.
see what matched with this and
You know what it was? You were doing Pinterest stuff before Pinterest was a
yeah.
thing, but, like, physical, like,
Yeah.
Pinterest.
Yeah. And so like I think in terms of creativity, I think that's where more of my head
Yeah.
lied because I didn't have access to the computer because someone else was on it the whole time. So all I had to do was do something like I pivoted and tried to and do something else. And that's also not to say that like I don't have the creative spark when it came to like coding or MySpace or whatever. Cause even though I'm on the cusp or like lower range of millennial, like I definitely was on MySpace. I
Mhm.
definitely was in the code. Like I would learn how to hide text in my bio or whatever,
Mhm.
like send secret messages to people,
Mhm.
and like try to hide the music box or like do all the things.
Mhm.
I wasn't learning that with you. I was learning that on my own or trying to figure that out with
'Cause Lord knows I would not have helped you.
no, you wouldn't have. So again, that's saying like I did have that in my
No,
life at
yeah,
that
I
time.
was gonna say, if you're done, I don't wanna cut you off.
No, I mean like if you're talking about roots, that's generally
Yeah,
where I
so
can
I was
think
gonna
of it.
say that, like, I feel like growing up, I always felt like you were more creative than I was because
I think so.
you were so like, with the physical art, which that was a big form of, like, being creative back in the day was just, like,
Mhm.
physical art or, like, abstract physical art. And you could, like, like, you could draw better than I could, you could, like, she's so and creativity doesn't end at just, like, drawing and, like, graphic design, like, she could sing better than I could, she can dance better
Mm.
than I could,
Okay,
she
whatever.
could cook better than I could, you know, like,
That's
you had
accurate.
so many creative outlets that you could pull from if you wanted
Mhm.
to,
Mhm.
and you were really good at scrapbooking, you were really good at, like, mood boarding, like I said, Pinterest before Pinterest,
Mhm.
um, or, like, you were really good at, like, envisioning something and then, like, putting it down on paper, and it, like, would look like how you would
Yeah.
explain it, whereas for
Yeah.
me, I could see it in my head, but, like, I'd go and try to, like, put it together, and
Yeah.
it just wouldn't come out, so I feel like in that aspect, back in the day at least, you were definitely more creative, like, you started creating even earlier than I did because you were doing that
Mhm.
stuff, like, when you were little, like, with your diaries and stuff,
Yeah.
so
I remember mom and dad actually put a whiteboard in our room when I was,
Mhm.
like, really young, and I
Yep.
remember being I would draw on it, and you would get so mad at me because you were like, "Why are you wrecking the
It was, like,
markers?"
all my organizational tips and stuff.
Yeah, like, my sister's
Like, my
trying to be like more adult as she goes on, and I'm over here literally drawing stick figures
Flowers.
and flowers and the phone number of the boy that I liked, like, on the whiteboard and
I
being
think I
like, "You
erased
cannot."
everything that you put on that whiteboard, I just erased it.
I remember being absolutely livid that you erased my portrait of me and the boy that I liked in kindergarten. I remember being so mad, and I, like, threw a fit, and then my in order for my dad to calm me down, I think he took me outside and, like, he was like, "I'll just take your picture," and I was like pretty self-absorbed, so I was like, "Okay." But I think we're both very, very creative. I think our creativity splits in a certain way, like,
Mhm.
your creativity, like, flourishes in one way and mine flourishes in another, which I is why I think when we come together for things, like, we
Yeah.
often work well to make good things.
Yeah.
Um, it's always hard because we're sisters, so we always butt heads, but, like, I think that, like, both of them together work very well. But to your
Yep.
point, I do think, like, even when we were working together, our mom was like, "I always thought that Jasmine would be the one to get this sort of job
Uh-huh.
first, or, like, she would be the one that would, like, be in this sort of field, and, like,
Like, my
Bevin
sister wanted to
wouldn't."
go to, like, the art institute, that's how
Yeah.
creative she was, and me, I was like, no."
Yeah, I remember I think it was my junior or senior year, I wanted to do, like, the San Francisco Art Institute. I don't remember what it's called. I remember looking into the dorms, and really the only thing that stopped me was the fact that it was crazy expensive.
Mm,
Um, and some unforeseen life changes from some unforeseen not so nice people in my life at the time. But um I mean, needless to say, like, I do think that was probably the right call. I think I would have been going for, like, theater or something crazy like
yeah.
that. And that field is really difficult in its own, and I don't have all of the things. I'm creative and talented in some ways, but I'm not like other people.
Mm,
And I think at that point in my life, even now, I don't have that drive as much as other people do to pursue that sort of art. I just enjoy from the seats.
yeah, and I think that's kind of why, like, I was okay with, like, testing you out and, like, when we had worked together is because, like, I
Mhm.
knew you had that, like, creative gene in you, it just had to, like, be pulled out of you, and also, like, we're gonna move forward a little bit here in the timeline, but also, like, I knew you dabbled in Canva or, like, basic graphic design. I knew you
Mhm.
could understand, um, like, when I would say, like, "Oh, maybe, like, increase shadows," or, like, you could see I knew you could see the vision, like I had said earlier. I knew you
Mhm.
would be able to see a vision and know, like, balanced creativity. Like, you would
Mhm.
know how it is, and for graphics, I know that you are very teachable and, like, you're a good student. So that's why it was, like, easy for me to, like, jump from just being like, "You're my sister and you're good at this," to, like, maybe, like, we can, like, make this work together.
I think something that was really good for me to learn, especially in that process, was because up to that point, I had been creating or editing photos to my preference, which is what
Mhm.
everyone should do. You should always create to
Yeah.
your preference. But working under someone or working with people that have their own preferences for that company,
Mhm.
like, is important to learn. Like, your
Be
preference
able
might
to
not be
yeah.
everyone's preference. For instance, I would love a cool toned photo. I don't know why. I mean, I realize that it looks kind of stupid sometimes, but, like, I do not like warm stuff. And so, like, working with you and working with Nicole, you were more on the peachy, or she was more on the pink and peachy vibes, and you were more on the warm, neutral, like, but also, like, no color at all sort of vibe. But I was just like, I want to, like, decrease the warmth. Like, so it was interesting to say the least to learn how to not create to my preference, if that makes sense. And I
Mhm,
think when
mhm.
you do that, you broaden your horizon to, oh, it looks good warm, or it looks good with no color. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it goes back to you being able to be a good student and, like,
Mm.
it's the same thing about, like, when, like and we do it still to this day, like, if I'm making something or you're making something, I'm like, what's wrong with this?" Like, I don't understand, like, it
Mhm.
doesn't look right, but I can't put my finger on it, so, like, what is your take on it? So,
Yeah.
it helps to see somebody else's perspective and,
Mhm.
like, learn, like, "Oh, maybe yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, it does look better than what I had initially thought."
Yeah.
Okay, anything else you wanna add about that?
I think that's
Creativity.
it.
Okay, so
Creativity?
we're gonna go on to
Okay.
the next, um, I guess, layer of it is like, when did you realize, like, I can make money doing this? What was your moment?
My truthfully, my moment was when I started working with you. I think it was maybe when I trialed like a week with you and I got
Mhm.
paid for that like couple of hours that I worked
Uh-huh.
with you. And like I think up to that point, like even knowing that you were already in that line of business and that line of work, it still felt so far fetched to me. I don't get me wrong, like I was incredibly proud and happy to see you flourish in the field. Um, and I think it was confusing maybe a little bit because I growing up we had always heard, "Oh, Jasmine's creative. Jasmine," I was really
Yeah, that you're
fed
gonna
that.
be the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not to say like I'm better at you than that's not, it's just in my
Oh,
head
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like I am creative or like I am quote unquote talented and whatever, like I am all this stuff. But I never really understood or even thought that it was feasible for me to do that because it was like how do I say this? Like I had to work hard to put you worked hard to get yourself where you were. You set yourself up for success in that way. And I think in my head, I never thought that I would get an opportunity like you did because I was thinking I
Mm,
had to be separate. And I was just like, she got her opportunity and I have to work hard if I want that to
mm.
be something that I want to have in my
You
life.
didn't want it to be like, "Oh, my sister's just giving, like, handouts." Like, I want it to be you wanted it to be something that's, like,
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
earn.
Yeah. And I think that's
Well,
why
it kinda goes on. Oh, go ahead.
I was so kind of questioning it when I was just like, "Are you sure? Like, this is okay?" Sort of thing. Because
Mhm,
in my head, I'm like, "Oh, looks fine," but but I also in that mindset, and this is gonna sound so spoiled and like kind of spoiled rotten, but like jobs up to that point in my life truly I felt and still feel like they had been almost handed to me or like they fell in my lap really easily, and that didn't does not to say like I didn't apply for jobs and didn't get them because those definitely happened. But the my first job, my first real like W-2 job. I interviewed for once and I got the job immediately. And the job after that, and even before that, I got like a summer job, not even applying. They just gave it to me. And then my second official job, I got without meeting like the big higher ups. Like I never had to meet them. My third job, I got that job because of one of my family members. I worked with Thomas for a little while. And the job after that, then I started working for a company and didn't really have to interview crazy with for a construction company. Um,
mhm.
and it was really easy. And even when I moved out here, away from my home, I didn't have to interview for my job. So like it was just given to me and I was like I have to
Mhm.
work hard for this sort of stuff. Like I don't want to just be given a job sort of thing.
Mm.
I wanted to work hard and I thought as far as like the line of work, I was just like it's not just going to fall into my lap sort of thing.
Sometimes it does, though.
And
Sometimes it honestly, it does. You gotta be grateful for those times when
yeah.
it does.
Yeah, and I think when it did for both you when you gave me that opportunity and Nicole gave me that opportunity, I it was almost like a pinch me thing.
Mhm.
Like I'm like, okay, like I'm actually gonna leave a job to do this. And mind you,
Mhm.
that was also mid pandemic also.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like so too almost too good to be true. Like I'm working from home still full time. I don't have to worry about all this stuff. I can go home whenever I need to. Like
Yeah, we talk about all of this in whatever episode that was.
yeah, and I mean, that's just to cover the beginning of that though, but like I remember thinking like I don't want to just get handed another job, but then when the opportunity came up, there's almost no way that you could refuse that opportunity. And when that moment hit
Mhm.
for me was when I was like, okay, I'm buying a Mac to work from home and like do
Mhm.
this sort of stuff. And like I remember being on FaceTime with you when I was like training and being like, this is kind of fun. Like I
Mhm.
didn't know that you could do this, or
This is
like,
work.
yeah,
This is
is
work.
I'm getting paid
I
for
get paid
this?
for
Yeah,
this? Yeah.
exactly. So I was like, "Oh, okay." So those
Yeah.
first moment or first couple of days even, like, it almost didn't feel real, because to you it just seemed like I was, like, having a conversation with my sister, and she's having me help her do this thing, and, like, not that big of a
Mhm.
deal. Um, and I think that's when it sort of was like, "Oh, like, I could do this, like, this could be a thing." And I never even
Yeah.
I now work in marketing, and I never even thought that I could work in marketing until I had crossed that threshold or started
Yeah.
that
Well,
job.
that kinda answered my next question for you was, like, how did, like, working I guess working with me was your first, like, design job, like, marketing, social media design, that kinda stuff. So, like, how did that job set everything in motion for the job you're in now, which is pretty much, like, a legit, like, marketing job,
Mhm.
like, it's a legit job that people go to school for, and that's what they are doing.
Yeah, well,
So how, like
before even I got the job with you, in various different places, when I was working at that construction company, I was doing their social media, and I was taking their
Mhm,
photos and editing their photos with the presets that you had given me.
mhm,
So I was running their social media, and when I moved to that dentist company that I was working with, they started right before I left, they started giving me social media things. So I was creating graphics in Canva,
mhm,
and the owner of that company also went to the same church that I did at the time, and they were like, "Can you create, like, graphics for this ministry thing that we're doing?" And I was like, doing that at work. So,
mhm.
it really wasn't the beginning when I started with you guys. It was just sort of, like, solidified, I guess, in that moment, and
Yeah.
when I did that, and it's almost like honed in my craft. I could look back at my graphics that I created before and be like, "Wow, I really sucked." Like, it was really the most basic and kind of boring stuff, and then I learned a lot more when I was working with you. And in turn, I think we did go over it in the other episode, but it was very much like I looked at the new job posting for the job I'm in now, and I remember questioning. I was like, I don't know if I'm qualified for this job, but I think I
Mhm.
am, because I
And I
know
was
how
like,
to do
"Girl,
all
you
this
are."
stuff.
Nicole
Yeah.
was even telling you, like, "You are more overly qualified for this job that they're giving you. Like, you know all of it and then some."
Yeah, so, like, I was like, I think I can do it, and I've learned all that stuff, sort of thing, and that was within the company with you and Nicole, and just tinkering on my own, sort of thing.
Mhm.
And I can confidently say now, like, I've learned even more working in the job that I'm in,
Yeah.
now, as far as how to create something. But again, it's on the business is different, the preferences are different for what I'm creating. um very much for you and Nicole, it was like girly pop, like,
Yeah,
hey
yeah.
girl, hey, what's up, love, sort of thing. And now
Mhm.
it's very formal because I work in automotive, and it's very straightforward, bold,
Corporate.
yeah,
Yeah.
corporate-y, and like, I even cater to, like, my boss's preferences, which, I mean, everyone doesn't like to do all the time, but I'm still learning how to do that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I find that interesting.
yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, so for me, it was like so I did you do a little bit of college?
I did.
Oh, yeah, so
Um
I also did a little bit of college, and I talked about this a little bit too, how I kinda just, like I took it as an opportunity to dabble in a lot of things to see, like, what interested me, and, like, it's so funny that you just get so used to, like well, I'm used to doing, like, a choir thing and, like,
Mhm.
math and science, and then so that's the kinda classes I took, and then I randomly took this, like, Photoshop class,
Mhm.
because I knew a little bit of Photoshop, so I was like, "Imma take it." Um, and I killed that class, and I remember thinking to myself, like, "Okay, this is gonna sound very conceited."
Hit us with it.
I remember, like, looking around the class, like, people that said they had, like, businesses and, like, doing, like, graphics and stuff. I remember looking around and me like, that stuff kinda, like, looks like trash, though, like, I'm doing so much better and, like, I don't have a business in this." So I'm like, "I feel like I could do something in this world, in the graphic design world. I just don't know where, like which way to go.
Mhm.
But I knew that at that time I was like, this is profitable. Like people want these skills
Yeah.
and they want somebody that can do it fast. They want somebody that can learn like the new features in these things and that can like speak the language, you know? And that I think when I was in college is right, Instagram was already like happening too. So I would like go on these other Instagram accounts, and it's so easy to like fall into like the like I'm already too far behind, like it's not like I shouldn't even start, like
Yeah.
everybody else is already like 10 steps ahead, like what is the point of me even
Mhm.
trying when all these people are like so far ahead, have all these followers already, and like what's the point? Like I'm never going to get into this industry. So
Mhm.
I just like medical field. Like that's where my mind went. Like it's not even worth my time or like me investing, like emotionally investing in like trying to get into this field when it's so competitive and it's so hard to break into. It seemed like that at the time.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, I just put it on the back burner, and then like I had discussed in the previous episode, I don't know, like it's all luck, blessings, I don't know, like that I was able to break in.
Mhm.
But now I tell everybody that I know, like, it doesn't have to do with a degree that you have. Like, sure, you can have a degree and that's great. And you might get two steps ahead of somebody that's behind you because of your degree. But honestly, in this business, project management, graphic design, social media, influencing, whatever, it's all networking. It's all proving that you can be reliable and that you're trustworthy and that you can learn and um like just making like those little connections here and there so people know like, oh, this person is legit. Because think about it, you go to, well, maybe you don't go to a hairstylist super often, but like think
Nope.
about it, okay? You go get your hair done. You've been to the same one I've gone to, the same lady that I've gone to for I don't know how many years now, like five, no, has to be like almost 10 years because Benji was little too when I was going.
Have I?
um so I've been going to her for a while, but like you think about these people that you meet doing your hair, your barista that you always see, you
Mhm.
ask their recommendation you hold higher to any like anything else. Like, oh, my hairstylist said this place makes bomb tacos. I know this place makes bomb tacos. And
Mhm.
that's kind of the same for our industry. Like you want somebody to say like, oh, you want somebody to help run your social media? Bevin can do that and
Mhm.
she's really good. And that's how like you network and like find your place and find your niche. And for me it was really it still is kind of like a very um odd balance because I can do like basic graphic design or like social media templates or like if they give me uh like just like I want something that looks like this, I can just make it. But I also am very good at like the tech back end, which like
Mhm.
goes back to like MySpace and Xanga. Like I know how like the back end of websites work. I know how to Google anything. I can learn anything on YouTube. And people always like poo poo on like, oh, like you didn't like learn that though, like in a book or like in a course. But it's like you honestly can learn anything on YouTube now.
Yeah, really.
So I, that's kind of where like I realized like, oh, like my skill set is one that people want to pay for and they go out of their way to find people like me.
Yeah.
So it, I guess it's my duty to like put myself out there. And as a homebody, it was a little difficult because I'm so much more of like an introvert. I want people to come to me instead of me having to like
Yeah.
go to them. And I've gotten a lot better at like putting myself out there, which we're gonna get into in a little bit. But I think that was my first like going to college and seeing these other people that like they like that's their business, but like I'm like I could do that and I can do it so much better.
Yeah. Well, I also think it's kind of interesting to kind of play off what you were saying, how you're as a homebody, it's difficult for you to go out and, network because you're not comfortable all the time doing that. But like a lot of people that are maybe in the same boat as you, I think it's interesting because they have the mentality of like, they're going to come to me. Like, I'm
Mm,
so good. Like, they're going to come to me. The moment I start offering business to someone, they're going to come to me, sort of thing.
mm,
And like, I think it speaks to your character that you're not asking people, plug me, plug me here, and that all of your connections that have brought you to the newer connections have all been
Mhm.
very genuine. Like you said,
Yeah, very organic.
it's very
Yep.
like, oh, you do need someone that can design stuff. Like,
Yeah.
let me give you the number of this person that I trust, or like,
Yeah, so I remember, sorry to interrupt you, but
mhm,
it was when I had moved on from Nicole to my current client, my main client.
mhm,
I had worked with her husband, my main client now. I've had worked with her husband in the past with Nicole. And like you said, it's all word of mouth. And like her husband heard Nicole's voice memo saying like, "Oh, like, are you looking for somebody for to help? Like, Bevin is going to be available, and like, just let me know if you need help or whatever." And her husband said like, "You have to jump on hiring this person.
mhm,
Like, you cannot stop because if you don't, somebody else is going to get her, and you need her."
yeah,
So, like you said, it's all like, and I was saying, it's all word of mouth. It's all like just putting your work and your work ethic and your like mentality like in the forefront without like just being like I'm so good that
yeah,
I don't need a community beside me. And yeah, and I remember even Nicole was like, "Did you?" Because influencers, let's give you some behind the scenes of influencers. Influencers, a lot of the times they're running giveaways for people to like increase their follower account. So like, oh, if you want to win this Nugget ice machine and also like this $200 Amazon gift card, well, you have to follow X, Y, and Z in order to be entered into this giveaway,
mhm,
and you have to stay followed to them until the giveaway's over or whatever. So Nicole was like, "Did you want me to like include you in this giveaway to like grow your account?" I'm like, honestly, I could care less about my social medias because I'm not like that's not my focus at that time. It's not my focus to like cater to like random followers.
yeah,
I want to be with people in the industry or people that are aligned with like where I want to be.
mhm,
And she was like, that's like a big green flag in the industry because she knew then like I'm not trying to social climb. I'm in it because I love to do the work.
yeah. I think that's important, and I think that's something that more people need to grasp.
And it's so hard because everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone wants to get YouTube famous or TikTok
Mhm,
famous. Like that's like get rich quick in their mind. And like I know that kind of fame, that kind of wealth is fleeting and like I need something more like this is gonna happen. This is gonna be like a lifelong thing for me.
yeah,
Whenever I go into a job, I'm like, I want to be connected with this for life kind of thing.
yeah,
That's my like obviously like you know what I mean. It's not like
mhm.
literal, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, it's so easy to get caught up in that mentality of
Hmm.
the get rich quick or get famous quick or get noticed quick almost thought process. And I mean, it would be naive of me to say that not that no one ever buys into that mentality, because like I do think everyone to some degree at the very least like is like, oh, it feels good to
If I get a
have
million
a good,
dollars, yeah.
yeah, or like, it feels good to have, this much money, or has feels good to know that this many people like my content at the very least,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
But it's dangerous when that becomes your entire being, and like it's no longer about your work, no longer about your craft or your
mhm.
creativity or your personality. It Your personality and your life becomes the number that you're seeing on the screen, and I think it's scary to think about letting that people get to that point, because
Yeah.
it's very dangerous for a lot of different reasons. But and I think even like to put it in simple terms, when I've streamed in the past, also, like, I've talked to you like this and this, and you're like, turn off the viewer count, like it doesn't matter, sort of thing. And I'm like,
Mhm,
well, it feels good to know that I have viewers. And you're like, just turn it off. Like, it's fine. You're still going to be the same person regardless.
mhm.
And it's very true. But I don't know. It's a tough
So,
one.
okay, well, that kinda let's go a little bit ahead now on, like, what our current, like, creative projects or, like, outlets are. So, did you want me to start or do you want to start?
You can start if you want.
Okay. So, as I had said already, like, I already have one specific client that am a project manager for, and I always have to like some people are like, "What's a project manager?" And I always explain it that in my at least in my um what's it called? In my not experience, it's situation.
Okay.
In my
You got there.
situation, um a project manager, my job is to do all the things that the influencer, my client, does not want to do.
Mhm.
So answering any kind of support emails or like whatever, drafting up newsletters for her, maintaining the website. I created her website, which typically is separate from being a project manager, but since I know how to create websites, which is another thing that I offer, I created her website. So oftentimes she has different events, or she's doing like workshops or selling things, and I'm the person that's designing and setting up the back end. So usually it's like they call it like the front end and the back end. Front, I think that's what it's called. Front
Front of the
something.
house?
Anyways, it's the front end, which is like the graphics, what people are seeing. The back end is like the coding, the mainframe, and like making sure that all the buttons are working and like connecting to the right form and going to Zapier, and that Zapier is going to another thing. So that like I do all of the things that she doesn't want to do, pretty
Mm.
much. Um project management varies from occupation to occupation, I guess. Like if you go to like your county and you go for a project manager, it's going to be vastly different than what I'm doing. So usually what happens is at least when I started working with this client, I was like, what did you want me, how I figure out like what they want me to be called? Because with um Nicole, I was the operations manager. So I just asked my client, I was like, what do you want me to sign my emails as? Because I can't just like leave a no signature. Then they're gonna be like, who is this person emailing me? So project manager was her answer. And I think that's pretty fitting because I do manage a lot of like her projects,
Mm.
literally. um so that's my client scope of work. But aside from the client scope, I also have like my personal stuff. So I do like my main thing right now is like web design, and I'm getting more into like logo design. I'm a
Mm.
little bit less, I feel less confident in my logo design abilities. But like I said, there's nothing you can't learn on YouTube.
Mhm.
And not only that, but I've made sure to like start surrounding myself with people, like-minded people in the industry that I can get mentorship from and advice from, and like point me in the right direction. Or you know I think I'm pretty good at, the thing is, I'm pretty good at like typography and making like type logos. I'm not a great drawer though. Some of the sketches, lots of logos have like little elements and sketches that bring everything together. I just feel like I'm not the best at that. So but web design, I am chef's kiss.
Mm.
So
I would have
that's
to
like
concur.
my personal creative projects. And then um aside from that, I have just like my hobby stuff. So I like to do like I don't know if you would consider it like creative, but like doing like my Twitch streams and stuff, and
It
like
is.
creating like little graphics and stuff for that, and having that community. And I was talking to you kind of about how I typically would consider myself a homebody, and not so much antisocial, but like I was good like not talking to anybody. Like I'm
Mhm.
good if nobody's around and like I have a book, like that's good. But when I started doing the streams, I found myself, see Barrett, he has not stopped this whole podcast episode. He's playing with his ice cream ball,
I hear
like
it.
running back and forth and
I
like
see it.
flopping on the floor and digging in his bed.
Proceed.
Anyway, my Twitch streams, it's helped me come out of my shell a lot. And honestly, I didn't think it was going to. So what I do on Twitch is I stream myself doing my client work. And I didn't think that those two things would ever cross over, as far as like one going in the like going hand in hand.
Mhm.
But I found that because I started doing the Twitch streams, I'm not as anxious as I would be about talking to people for my client work as I would have been before that. Like
Mm.
I am like, so we're going to be doing a retreat this week. And there's going to be like a handful of like entrepreneurs there that I have to, like, socialize with, and before I probably would have been, like, so anxious and be, like, dreading the whole week, but, like, now I'm like, "I'm excited." I'm excited to, like, share with these girls, like, what they like, just to talk with them and, like, learn about their businesses and be excited with them during the retreat, and that's probably something that I wouldn't have ever thought I would would be like. You know me, I'm not
Yeah.
like that.
I'm over here like,
Um,
what are you talking about?
yeah. Uh,
You're going to a
you
retreat
my
and you're
sister.
excited?
I mean, I think I still get anxious about, like, the whole, pleasantries, like, them getting to know who I am, and having that, like, bubble up first, and you have to, like, kind of break down, chip the ice away. But
Mhm.
I feel more I was telling Thomas yesterday that, I don't know what it was, if it was COVID or just becoming a parent and, like, life changes, but I felt like for a long time I lost myself and, like, I didn't know my sense of humor. I didn't know, like, I back in the day, I thought I was, like, very funny, like, I could make people laugh, but, like, in that weird, like, 20 to late 20 where I was, like, parenting, like, I was like, "I am not funny at all." And I feel like I'm starting to get that, like, I'm understanding my own sense of humor again, and I'm being more, like,
Just.
socially aware of myself, I guess. I don't know. I just felt very awkward when I was in that, like, young parenting. Maybe it's because nobody could like, there was no young parents around my age,
Mhm.
so it was hard to relate, or if they were a parent, they're, like, much older, so their sense of humor could be a little bit different. Anyways, that's off topic, but, um, yeah, I don't know. It's just fun to have, like, my like, the creative side and, like, the tech analytical side, like, combine.
Mm.
It's, like, been very fulfilling for me to, like, dip into all these different streams of, like, things that fulfill me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, like, I would also say we'll move on. We'll talk about this in a second. So you go share your stuff. Like, what are your creative ventures that you're doing now? What is filling your cup?
Well, I mean, in terms of, like, kind of following your format of how you just responded,
Mhm.
um, creativity-wise, like, I am still working in my marketing job. Um, there's boring and fun parts of that job because it's
Mhm.
work, it's what you gotta do.
Yep.
Some of the more difficult stuff to do is, like, more numbers based or,
Yeah.
like, advertisement as far as, like, Facebook goes. Um, and some of those things are really difficult to kinda swallow or, like, take time to do. Um, and even social media on that aspect sometimes is a little bit difficult because of the niche that we're in, like, it's not fun. Like,
Mhm.
automotive is not
Yeah, yeah.
fun unless you're a car person, and Lord knows I am not a car person. But, I mean, I make it look fun, so there's that. But the parts that I have been enjoying in my work actually come more down to internal marketing or internal events, which mainly happens with like our events with our employees. Um, for instance, we just had a an employee get master technician status, which is like he goes to basically like the school for the company or sorry,
Right.
school for the brand and gets like certified and like super cool, right? And now he can work on cars more. So like what my job was I got to basically take his photo, like do a quick photo shoot with him and then I got to create a magazine cover and a short like article with
Bio.
some
Mhm.
answers that he gave to some questions that
Yeah.
we gave him. So I one of those tasks like or it's like one of those tasks is what I have enjoyed doing. It's like it's highlighting our employees. I'm getting to speak with them. I'm getting to interview them and I edit the photos and I create something really cool. And like at the end of the day, I'm like, he looks happy in the photos. He looks like he's enjoying himself and he looks proud of himself and I'm proud of myself, sort
Aw.
of thing. So it was really cool to see that come to fruition. I have yet to see like the physical copy. One of the unfortunate things is that there's many layers of read throughs that or like editing that my stuff goes through. So before it even gets
Yeah,
finished,
yeah.
um, some
That's
people
something that I never had to deal with, like.
yeah. I mean,
Like multiple people.
it's
We had one person.
so the thing is, like, it just depends, truthfully. Like, I will always say, like, I love my
Mhm.
job and I'm very blessed, but like, it depends on who my task come from, who it come from, who. It's kind of late. Who it comes from. There you go. So if it comes from like my supervisor, she's obviously gonna want to make some edits or adjustments to it. But if it comes from the owner, like he doesn't really care. He just wants it done and he wants it the way
Yeah,
he
yeah.
likes it. Again, editing to his preference. So it's just like it depends on who it comes from. Um, but that's the kind of professional work that I have been enjoying. The middle tier that you were talking about was more of like a creative, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, my screen just went completely gray.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, no interruption. You're good.
Okay, perfect. I'm not really sure what you're referring to in your middle one, but it was like avenues of creativity that still are creating revenue. Is that what you said? Or like,
Yeah, well, yeah, just like what are you like your passion projects that it's still like you can get paid for these things
oh,
kind of
okay.
thing.
I mean, really, it's hard to answer.
Girl, girl, plug your store. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
I
Plug your store.
I am. Let me get there. But it's hard because I often have passion projects. I'm the kind of personality that like gets really, really excited for something and
Mhm.
like goes
Mhm.
110 fold on it. And unfortunately, I'm the personality that gets very discouraged when I don't see profit, when I don't see success. So I'm like, oh, like if it's not working, then I want to fix it. Or if it's not working, I can always do something else. So that's the mentality
Huh.
that I have.
Who would have thunk?
Okay. You're gonna sit down,
Let's do
ma'am.
a podcast.
I'm still here. I'm enjoying this. But currently, the thing that I've just recently started is I've opened my Etsy store, and I had never opened an Etsy store before.
Mhm.
For more digital and Canva templates for like
Yeah.
invitations is what I've started with, and I've been
Mhm.
really excited about them. I was actually looking through
Yeah.
my Canva, like my personal Canva account, just to kind of see what I was in there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've been creating freaking invitations for years, like Christmas party invitations, birthday party invitations, like
Mhm.
I'm like, how do I have like this much stuff already? So I've created a bunch of new uh products that I have already posted, and I know that like I have some still in like the back burner that I've already used for my personal stuff and I thought they were really
Mhm.
nice. So I'd like to post those, and I'm getting excited to sit down and be like, "Okay, what's my theme?" And again,
And
it's not
create,
because
yeah.
I'm creating for me, like my preference, like my specific is like,
Mhm.
what would like a little 5-year-old girl want for her princess party? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
or like I think back to like when you were having your baby showers, like what did my sister want? She liked, cookies and milk, like things,
Mhm.
and I wanted to get into the mindset of like someone that was purchasing that specific thing.
Dude, you're so right. I created so many invitations and
Mhm.
stuff too. Like I have so many things I could have just put on the market for passive income. And like
Yeah.
like I was saying earlier,
You should.
it's so hard to like you see so many people like that are already like killing it. And you're
Yeah.
like, why? Like what? Like there's so many things. Like what like
Mhm.
nobody's gonna want my stuff. So
Well,
like that's like for me, I always get discouraged for like posting anything
the
like
crazy
that.
thing for I think we're kind of opposites in that way because you're like no one's going to want my stuff, right? But then I'm very easily influenced.
Everyone wants it.
No, well, I'm easily influenced in the way that like my Instagram feed knows when I knows me too well. But like I come across accounts that are like, make thousands of dollars doing all this stuff, right? So in my head, I'm just like, oh, that's actually a really good idea. I know how to create this stuff. It's easy enough to set up an account and I can just keep creating, right? And that's something that I initially wanted to do a long time ago. I remember being like,
Mhm.
what kind of ebooks can I create? But I'm like, I
Mhm.
don't want to put effort into creating an ebook on knowledge that I don't have, sort of thing.
Mm.
So the basic thing that I can do is create templates, and these are editable templates for people to do whatever they wanna do, you know, and for the people that don't have Canva or the people that don't know how to use Canva or don't have the patience to sit down and sift through, you
Mhm.
know,
I just want the convenience of, like,
yeah.
"I like this, I want it."
Yeah,
And
and
it's like it's not like $50 either for a template. It's, like, very,
no,
like you
but
don't have to think about it.
yeah.
Cheaper than a venti Starbucks.
Yeah, but, I have I have a handful of things listed already on my store, and I'm excited to post more, and it's been kind of keeping me, on my toes a little bit, like, I keep refreshing the
Yeah.
view count on my profile, and that
Oh,
at
gosh, showing the views again.
well, like, because I was just like, I wonder what traffic is, generated by, like, my friends and family
Mm.
versus what's the genuine
Random clicks,
traffic,
yeah.
and there was, like it was, like, Friday night, like, I all of a sudden had, like, 30 plus viewers on my account. I was like, "What the heck?" Like, "Okay, wait, someone's searching for something."
Okay.
So I was really excited, but I will plug myself. If you're looking for invitations, editable templates on Canva, you can shop my Etsy, Luna by It's J Celeste. That's LunaByITSJSELESTE.
The link will be in the show notes.
Yes, yeah. Please view the show notes. But
Text it to me so I can add it.
yes, I will. But that's profitable creativity that's happening there. Side stuff is I I've always enjoyed streaming, but I'm not very good at it, and it's just not something that I have time for. But I do enjoy it when I can. I've also created like a few social media videos here and there, and like for one moment in
Mhm.
time was like, oh, I gotta post so many reels because I just want to do it. And like I also get in my head a lot of like I don't want to post things that people don't want to see, and I get critical of
Mm.
myself. But like I
Mhm.
have an account specifically for me to post without worrying. I'm like if they people are following this account, then that means they're wanting to see my content sort of
Mhm.
thing. So
Mhm.
I have enjoyed posting content on that account, and it's just kind of it's fun to see, but
Yeah.
it's just hard when and I know it's very cliche because I say I'm busy all the time, but I truly am busy. Like I right before this recording, I just got back from like a concert, and I had church before, so it was like a whole thing. I hadn't been home all day. It's been quite the day, but needless to say, still here for the podcast, showing up. Woo!
Okay, so this kind of brings us to like what we're looking to do in the future. We kind of touched on that already.
Mm,
So like one thing that I started doing for myself, like going down the road, is like I've had my business Instagram account active for like years, but I never used it, or like I used it a couple times and then I just would like delete the
yeah.
stuff because I didn't like it or whatever. But I started posting to it again, and like my mindset now is like don't overthink the content. Like
Mhm,
people just want to see people being real and like like behind the scenes, and like if they're gonna follow along, it's gonna be because they enjoy that kind of content,
mhm,
and like stop overthinking like, oh, it doesn't look as good as so and so's page, or oh, I don't have like an aesthetic looking cover for this reel. Like I just am trying to post and post regularly and post content that I enjoy. And I would love to have like my own community of like people, like whatever, just people that I can go to that would understand the lingo that I speak. Because a lot
mhm.
of the times I can't just talk to like random people, like some of my friends. I can't talk to them about what I do because they don't understand
Yeah.
like the type of work that I do. And I could talk to you, but like also we don't like to like burden each other with like work drama, or like not even work drama, just like stupid stuff. Like it's
Mhm.
like you're living your life, I'm living my life, like we're good. We just talk about podcasts and murder and stuff.
Okay, not murdering
um
people, but murder documentaries. Let's please
podcasts and
rephrase
murder.
that before we get flagged somewhere.
um So, I kinda had told you too, like, I started joining more communities
Mhm,
based upon, like, my interests, and, like, I'm just trying to expand my, like, my friend groups, so I'm not just, like, in my own personal bubble and in my own space, and, like, I have people I can go to where I'm like, "Is this a good idea, or is this not a good idea?" Or, like,
mhm,
"I wanna put this up on a shop, but I don't know what platform I should do," or, like, just stuff like that, that they would understand, like, "Oh, yeah, I've used this X, Y, and Z, but, like, C works the best," kinda thing, you
mhm.
know? Like trustworthy people in the industry that are not looking to social climb or gatekeep any kind of like information, but just like want to uplift each other and like bring the best out of each other. And I found a couple communities that are like that, which is great. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of like right now, like that's my baby steps to like where I want to be. And my social media is more like I keep going back and forth if I want to do like more like my Instagram for like potential clients or like community based. But I decided I'm just gonna do both. Like whoever comes, comes.
Yeah.
Like if a client sees this about like me teaching other people, then good. Like they'll know that I like teaching other people and like helping them and uplifting other people. So
Mhm.
that's fine for me. And then I had this any like dream collaborations.
Mm.
Like I don't know, I don't really like have any like super big dream collabs. I guess like I'd love to work for like a bookstore, like do something for a bookstore or I don't
You
know.
hear
It's
that,
hard
Barnes&
because
and Noble?
it's so hard to come across clients that are not like super corporate, you know what I mean? I really like my niche, like being able to like work hand in hand with like entrepreneurs
Mm.
or small businesses or like female owned businesses that just need like a head like a jump into like the online world. And that's kind of what I had put on my business website. Is like I want to be able to help the at-home CEOs that don't really understand the internet but know that they need to be like on it, you know?
Mhm.
So like that's where I strive. So when they say like dream clients, I never think of like, oh, I really want to work for like Logitech. Like I'm not into like I think I'm not into like the corporate world. Like it's too much like red tape to like have to like get through. I
Mm.
like to have like one-on-one time. I can voice memo you and like, that's kind of where I'm at, but I'd love to have more. I'd love to be able to take on like 2 website clients a month. One website client would be like great too, but yeah, I'd love to be able to have like a big portfolio of like websites that I've created. And it's funny because I do have a lot of websites that I create, but it's just like, you know what I mean? I want to like have more of that. Yeah. So
Well,
that's
it just so happens
my
that I know a small
dream move
business owner that's female.
that will pay me
Oh,
for a website.
I will watch your children.
It's a lot of work, guys.
It's okay.
You got to pay your web designer. What about you? Any goals for the next 5 years,
Mm.
dream collabs, or well, you kind of are starting your own business, which is great. Also, you should post your templates to your Instagram account, your Luna Creations or whatever.
So that's actually something that I wanted to kind of not touch
Mhm.
on, but like I was thinking about earlier while we were talking is Luna Creations is what the company or the name of the small
Mhm.
business that I am running, but Luna was not always a digital template company.
It's fine. You only have 3 posts on that.
No,
Just start it over.
I know. So I actually went in and I archived a lot of my old posts, maybe
Mhm.
aside from like the launch date, my original launch date, which was in October of 2021, I think it was, and like about the owner and like just like an initial post sort of thing. But Luna used to be actually a charcuterie business, and I left it.
Another one of your creative
Another one,
ventures.
and that was like again 2021 when like again COVID was a thing. So I actually had a business where I would curate a selected charcuterie box and I would put them together. I would box it up. I would post it online, and the people in my community or my friends um, could reserve a box via a flash sale on my stories. And then I would set it on a table outside of my house and they would come pick it up at their scheduled time. That was what Luna was, but I had intentionally left it open. I didn't put Luna Charcuterie as my handle.
Mhm.
I intentionally left it open because I knew myself even at that point being like there's so much
I'm gonna
there's
pivot.
so much things that I want to do, but I don't want to put myself in a charcuterie box, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
At the time, it was something really cool, and I actually had a lot of business from my immediate friends and people that I didn't even know. So like, it was really nice to have that. But Luna Creations or Luna, um, by It's J Celeste, it's just Luna to me, but it's just an avenue of where I can create something, and now with this avenue of digital products and Canva templates, um,
Mhm.
I'm excited to hopefully just at the very least be consistent, have something consistent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
that means me uploading a design and getting 0 views on it, a consistent 0 views. But I would obviously much rather have more purchases or um, more feedback or anything like that on those designs. And hopefully, like, I've already gotten some people being like, can you make this sort of stuff? And so hopefully I can incorporate that into some designs that I make in the future.
Oh,
um,
that's cool.
but
Yeah.
it's almost it's in its infancy at this point, even though Luna was created in 2021. Like, the digital aspect of it has been something that I've mulled over for years now. I didn't know how to
Mhm.
do it, didn't know what to get into, and it was almost like a spur of the moment, like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it now. What's stopping me, sort of thing. So I'm excited to hopefully get that um on its feet and walking soon. And uh I think, again, like, as far as creativity goes, like, it's been something that's been refreshing for me because I've been so locked down in that automotive headspace that, like,
Mhm.
now I'm getting to make, like, bee invitations for, like, a honeybee.
Yeah, like creating stuff that you wanna create, like
Yeah.
being like that's why I said it's like passion, like, it brings the fun back into it, which, um did you have anything else you wanted to add to
I
that?
mean, on that, like, social media in general, like, working in social media, because I still do manage the social media page for my, for the automotive group that I'm in. That's, um 6, 7 social channels that I have to consistently post these boring photos of vehicles, on, and I'm not a big vehicle person, so, like, it's not, sparking joy, I guess you can say,
Mhm.
in the posts that I'm creating there. So when I get home and I start looking at social media, I'm, like, bored of it already. I'm like, "I'm tired of it, like, I don't wanna look at social
Mhm.
media." But I'm excited to hopefully post more, just like you have been doing, like, whatever you wanna do, whatever makes you happy. That's what I
Yeah,
wanna
and
do.
so yeah, that's what I was gonna say is, like, I even talked to Joey about it, one of our streamer
Sup, Joey?
friends, but, like, he also does a podcast, shout out Hoth Hangout. It's a Star Wars podcast. If any of you guys are
Ooh!
Star Wars fans, Hoth Hangout, it's Joey and his friend Ben, and they podcast everything Star Wars. Very
I love
wholesome.
that.
Um, yeah, you check him out. Check him out. Hoth Hangout. So anyways, I was talking to him because he's also like he hates social media. Like he hates having to like think of content to create and then thinking of the caption and then like seeing like I only get like 3 likes or whatever. And I said told him like you need to like stop thinking about the likes and like narrow down like make your life easier. And that's what I was gonna say right now is like I've learned how to embrace AI in a way that it's not like a robot. Like I've infused my voice so much into this specific AI that like it sounds like me or it sounds like something that I would have come up with if I had the time to like sit down and come up with it. This whole outline AI that I just gave it like a paragraph like this is what I want to talk about. This is my background. This is my sister's background. Give me it needs to be around 60 minutes worth and it gave me a whole outline. That like it's insane, it's scary, but, like, it's brought so much joy to, like, content creation because I don't
Mm,
have to think. I can, like, just say, like, create a content calendar with 30 days worth of, like, different types of content, like, and just, like, very basic of what I want, and then it spits it out, and it's in my voice, and if I see one that I'm like, "Oh, I do like this, but I don't like this part of it."
mhm,
I can tell it like, "Okay, go more into in depth with this, but let's remove this and like add something that sounds more like me." And it does it, and it just has brought in so much more like less pressure to be somebody that I'm not because it ultimately it is my own words and like my own vision and like my own like what I want in my business. But it's just like it thinks a lot faster than me.
mhm,
It takes the guesswork out of it for me. But yeah, I don't know. So a lot of people don't like AI because they're like it's stealing jobs away from people. But like honestly, AI is not gonna take anybody's jobs away. It's only gonna enhance other people's jobs. because it only works as good as its user. So if you are like, I'm just going to use AI to like do everything, if you type something in, it's going to give you something that is like generic, bland,
Mhm.
boring. So the user is the one that has to implement their voice and has to implement like their vision and everything in it in order for it to like actually convert into something that like you like or something that somebody else will cling on to. So anyways, I don't know, a little AI sidetrack,
Are
but
you using
yeah.
ChatGPT?
I use ChatGPT and I've also dabbled with Claude, I think is its name.
Mm.
Claude AI, and I kind of what so the thing is like what's great is you can feed the information back and forth to them, just copy and paste it within the AI and like and make like your own personal like assistant for the most part.
Mhm.
Like for example, I've started using it to like create like documents
Mm.
for like that I can sell. Like it's amazing. Haven't done it yet, but working on it.
You
And
wa
the thing
you
is
wanna
you
put it
can't
on
just
a
go in there and like expect it's gonna create like a beautiful graphic. It's gonna give you like the copy and like ideas, but you have to put in the work to like make it your own
yeah.
and make it beautiful and make it presentable and make it appealing to other people too. So anyone want help with AI? Hire your girl. And I was what I
AI
brought
your
Joey into it
girl.
is because Joey started like dabbling, like putting his own like thoughts into it. And he's like, oh, like it actually is very helpful.
People are
if you if
scared of
you're in a if
AI.
you're in a bind.
People are scared of
I
using.
can I get it. I get it, you know? I understand. But goodness, is it nifty.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
I always tell okay, I this is what I tell Thomas. If the government wants to find me and wants to find my information, they're not gonna be using AI to do it. They're gonna be able to find me no problem. Like I'm already in the Apple ecosystem. They're gonna be easy
Yeah.
peasy, easy
Yeah,
peasy to
tell me how
find
come
me.
I'm getting text messages about your address and be like, would you like to sell this home?" And I'm like,
Yes.
"What?"
How do you know?
Yeah, it's not even my house, but okay.
It's fine. Yeah, if anybody ever has any AI questions, hit your girl up. I do charge.
Did you
I'll
hear
give you some AI
did you hear
lessons.
my my joke about that when you said, "Hit me up," and I said, "Hit me up, AI your girl."
Stupid. Okay, did you have anything you wanted to add or ask before I have, a final thing for
No,
us
go
to
you
do?
go right ahead. This has been a great episode.
Okay, rapid fire questions
Okay.
off the top of your head, okay?
Are we going back and forth or is this just me answering?
We can do both.
Okay.
I haven't read any of them, these
Okay,
ones, so
so
we'll see
I'll
how it
answer
goes.
first and then you answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, ready? What's one job you're so glad you'll never have to do again? Go.
Customer service.
I was gonna say, clothing customer service.
Yeah.
I hate folding my own clothes, like, I always tell I hate folding my own clothes, why would I wanna fold somebody else's?
I'm
Never.
gonna delve deep just a
I think
quick
I did, like, 6 months, and I was like,
I'm
"Mm-mm."
just gonna preface this. I'm a people person and I love to talk to people, but I do not want to do customer service again just because I don't want to do it. Mm-mm, nope. Mm-mm.
In person or online or
Both.
both?
I mean, emails wasn't that bad, but like, because I could kind of laugh when I'm receiving the
Yeah.
email, but like, I
Or
can't.
call me and be like, "This per can you believe this person
Yeah,
said
but I
this?"
can't laugh in front of like a client, a customer face. I've been
Okay, yeah,
offered
yeah, yeah.
like, "What you want to do?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm not doing that."
Okay, next one,
Yep.
ready? Most cringeworthy design trend you were obsessed with? Go.
Cringeworthy design. Maybe you can
Mhm.
answer that one first.
I would probably have to say, I was obsessed with like, creating anything and then adding like a white overlay and then like dropping the opacity to make it look glossy. I did that with everything. I was like, oh, it looks so chic. I loved it. And I would add like, oh, it's, yeah, I think it's because it was like a thing that I learned and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It does make it look glossy. But now every time I look at it, I'm like, "Oh my god, please, it looks so dated."
So the one thing for me is I still think it looks cool, but my boss doesn't and didn't. It was on Photoshop when I would bevel and emboss text message
Oh,
or
girl.
text. But
You
like,
probably didn't do it.
no, no, no. I did it tastefully, and I only did it on
Oh,
like
okay.
I thought I only did it on specific things. Like, I didn't do it on the entire text or, like, you know what I mean? It was just, like, the title or if and it when it was absolutely necessary, I think. But she at sometimes can be, like, a hater because, again, she's editing or she's commenting on her preference, and she's been in the industry much longer than I have, but,
Mhm.
she one time commented, "Why are you using bevel and emboss so much?" And I was like, "Because it looks nice." She straight up said, "It's not my preference." And I was like, "Okay, it's not your preference. You're my boss." I was like, "Whatever." But I still love a good bevel and emboss when it's called for. Hate if you wanna hate, but also, I was a noob at
Yeah.
Photoshop, so I didn't know how to do that stuff on
You're like,
Canva.
"This is new." On one click, a bevel.
Bevel and emboss is so simple.
Okay, if you could go back and give your younger creative self one piece of advice, what would it be? Go.
Just do it.
I was gonna say just post it.
Just do it.
Just sell it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Nobody knows, just do it.
No, I mean, it's
I would say yeah, I would just and I'd also say, like, stick with it.
mm,
Like you had told me in the past, like, if I would have stuck with, like, making, like, vlogs, at home vlogs and editing them, like, you were like, "You would have been really good at it." And I was like, "I probably would have been," but, like, I just lose interest so
yeah.
fast. And it's not even like nobody's watching it, so I don't wanna do it. It's more like I just get bored of doing it myself,
Mm,
so, like, I move on to the next
mm.
thing.
I think that's something that I was thinking about too as far as, like, things that I've done. I think that both of us could have, and I think it's ironic because we both started vlogging a little bit later than, like, the trend of vlogging was in, so, as far as posting it on YouTube, like, both of us maybe were making
Mhm.
videos, and I even remember this little recorder that we had, this purple voice recorder. It was our OG podcast where we had one
Dude,
cassette, and we just flipped it back and forth.
so much entertainment over the summer with that
Yes.
one. It was it was a thing on Home Alone, the talk
It was
boy or
so
something like
cool.
that.
I remember
And you can make yourself sound like a chipmunk,
Yep.
and we just were super spy kids all summer
Yep, I
long with our
remember
cousin
being,
Daniel. Shout
like,
out Danny
in
boy.
the tree, like, the apple tree in the
Mhm,
back and, like,
mhm.
legit making a podcast, like, asking
Uh-huh.
and questions and interviewing each other and, doing silly things, but, like, that age
And
of
then listening back to it
and then
ourselves.
laughing for, like, hours. But that age of, like, when people were also posting on YouTube and getting lots of views, like, we were also on YouTube making, J3B Productions and,
Mhm,
like, had
mhm.
that continued or had we pursued, I feel like we could have started something cool, not to say we would have blown up or anything like that, but, like, the
You know what
consistency.
what's killer is when you see somebody, like and it's not like I'm jealous of maybe it's not like I'm mad that they're having success, like, I am happy for when people are successful,
Mhm.
but when I see them doing exactly what am doing, and I'm like, "Why didn't I think of, like, streaming this earlier? Why didn't
Mm,
I think about, like, documenting this and just, like, consistently posting things like this?"
yeah.
Like, I'm so dumb because I feel like for me, at least, I was so like, ahead of the trend as far as, like, the industry goes, like, I was in it already, I just didn't know how to, like, get in it, but I
Mhm.
was already doing things that were yeah, I don't know, I'm just like, "Oh, I wished I
I
would've
think, like
thought of doing this so early
I
on."
think that's general for both you and I because at least at this point in our lives, we're also so surrounded by trends and things and all the
Mhm.
technology and stuff. Like we definitely have those thoughts. I know we do of like, let's just do this, let's do that, or we pass, or we don't do it for whatever reason. And then like things spiral and people get famous or people have so much success or like the videos do really well or there's lots of, feedback on it, and you're like, "Dang it, like, I should have
Yeah,
done it.
I could've been
I
doing that
really
too,
should have done it."
but,
But
hey, good on for those
yeah.
that took a chance on themselves early on and just went
I mean,
for
that's
it.
something that you've talked about in this pod, but, like, you know, getting out of that headspace and just doing it and, like, I wish I would have
Mhm,
done it sooner sort of thing, and, like, it's something
mhm.
that I think both of us are still technically working on,
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
we are opposite in a lot of way, like, you're more introverted and I'm more extroverted, but, like, at the same time, we struggle with the same, like, concept of, like, I don't think anyone's gonna like it, so I'm not gonna post it, or, like, someone already did it, so
Mm.
I don't wanna do it sort of thing, but we're
Yeah,
both
yeah.
working on the, "I'm just gonna do it." Like, there what do I
'Cause
have
I
to
like it, yeah.
lose? Like, it is what it
Yeah.
is, like, so
Yep.
that's where we're
Yes,
at.
exactly. Okay, next question, rapid fire question. Current design tool that you can't live without. Go.
Can't li
Background
can't
remover.
live okay. Mm, I don't know if it's a design tool, but I like shooting my videos in 4K 60 FPS.
Oh, yeah, she asked me I posted something on Instagram today, and she's like, "Was this recorded in 4K 60 FPS?" I was like, "What? No, but okay."
No, like, 'cause in my I never this is crazy to me actually because no one ever told me that I could change that until recently when I was
Oh,
like, "You can change is that why my videos look like this?"
girl.
Like
Girl, well, you what iPhone do you have?
14 Pro Max.
Oh, okay. I know they did something funky with their camera, but anyways, yeah, you could change it, but if you're gonna put it in 4K 60 FPS, it's gonna be like a very big
Yeah,
file.
yeah,
So just make sure you clean your device out.
yeah, so but, like, I only do that for, like, when I'm shooting something, if that makes sense. I don't like to do that when I'm just, like, recording, like, my nephews. And then even so, I still
Mm,
try to clear out as much files as I can because I know they are pretty big, but, um, design tools, I would have to say, I don't know, maybe oh, there's an animation thing on Canva that's kinda cool. Like, it's a custom animation.
like oh, where you drag it around?
Mhm.
You can't live without that?
No, it's just something that I learned recently.
You
Can I
just
change
like
the
it?
question?
Okay. Okay, next question. One thing you hate seeing in design that everyone else seems to love? Pink.
Oh my gosh,
I
pink.
hate it. I hate it. So much pink.
Pink and sparkles, pink and more pink. My sister
I
and
don't
I
know.
are
That
not a
was just
fan
us.
of
I
pink.
just said that one because, yeah, I just said that because I'm not a fan of pink, but it's cool. Whatever you
You
like.
know what? For a long time, I think
Actually, my client really loves pink. I think she has a couple of headshots that is just like a pink background in her and she looks beautiful, but like not my choice.
I think for a long time I
Okay.
didn't understand the
Oh,
paint stroke. Like everyone was all about the paint strokes, and I was like, it's not that cute.
paint stroke. Oh, like
Like an
the
element.
swipe.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like,
No,
whoa.
that's so true. It was like so overused.
Yeah.
Now what's in is just like a highlighter. Like it looks like somebody did a highlighter,
Mm-hmm.
but like different color highlighters. It's like journaling, like different
Ay,
highlighters.
ay, ay.
That's what's
Get a
in right now.
journal.
Okay. If you could switch careers for a week, what would you try?
A successful career.
Just your yeah, like something that you would do for a year or for a week.
I mean, I've always liked to do like YouTube and like that sort of stuff, but if we're
You would want to be an influencer for a
maybe,
week.
maybe, but I think I'm getting
It
there.
wouldn't carry over back when you're done.
No, I
Like once you're
know,
done, you're
I
done.
know.
I think you'd hate being an influencer.
Something I said it before, but something that I wanted to do when I was younger was be an event planner. The only reason why
Mm.
now as an adult I'm like I don't want to be an event planner is because I'm like everything happens
People?
on the weekends.
Uh,
I gotta go to church.
for me for me, it would be for a week. Ooh, see, that's the thing. I was gonna say archaeologist, but for a week, that sounds like a long time in the desert.
It depends. You could be an archaeologist working at like a school.
Hmm. You know what? I probably would be like a history
Yeah.
teacher.
Oh, a teacher.
I think that's
Can I add
yeah. I love
historian?
history, and I think so many people have told me like, I think you would have been a great teacher. I'm like, I probably would have been a great teacher, but like, kids. I have my own.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like planning. I never liked planning things. You have to plan a whole lesson. Like, that's not my
Just
it's not my
people
thing.
go to Chat GPT.
ChatGPT, please give me my lesson for history. But maybe for a week, I might be able to like. I think I might enjoy that for a week only, and that's it. Then I'll go back to the design
To our
life.
cousins that are teachers, do you hear this? Please bring her into your classes. Your substitute
No,
teacher.
they're math teachers. Which, by the way, we need to ask one of them to be on pod.
Yes.
We already had Janelle's, but we should ask the older one to come on.
And the younger one.
Oh, maybe together.
Oh no, that would be a
The
disaster.
sisters' one. No, it
No,
wouldn't. We
I'm
should
talking
try
about the
it. It's gonna
youngest
be great.
one.
Oh, the
The one
band
you're
member.
wearing. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah, he does want to come on too. Okay, that would be a really fun one. Anyways, we got two. So tell us which one in the poll, which one you want to, or in
Oh
the comments
yeah.
on this episode,
Which
which one do you want to
episode?
hear from first? Our older one or our baby one?
Oh my gosh.
Not a baby. He's like 22 or something now.
I still think of him as a baby.
Okay, last question. Are you
Yeah.
ready? Sorry, I'm reading something.
What was that? You need to go to sleep. We need to get through the rest of this
I do.
episode.
It's really I know. Okay. What would you tell somebody that um is wanting to get into like the creative field, be it in design or like another creative area? What would you tell them?
What would I tell
Because
them?
it's so like if it's not art, you have to go to art school, whatever. If it's like a different form of art, it's so hard um to like break into it. So like I probably would say just like don't be scared to put what you're proud of on your social medias.
Mm-hmm.
Like start now. Start now and use AI to help get rid of like the overthinking, because I know if you're in the creative spirit, you don't want to have to think about like what's going to be a good caption for this. Like I don't like you want to just create the stuff. You
Yeah.
don't want to have to think about
Yeah.
the other things. You can when you get to a certain point where you find your own voice and like you like are inspired to like write things about your whatever, then you can start making it. But like right now, just post your stuff. Don't worry about the excess. Just post it, get it out there, start a website. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can even open up a Canva website or Etsy if you want to sell stuff on Etsy, but like start it now while you're creating and while you're passionate about it, because a year goes by and you don't have anything online and it's more of a hindrance than anything else, because like people are going to ask like, what have you done before? And you'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, start a website
So
and hit up Bevin for all your website needs.
no, like you don't need to hire a website designer to get your stuff online.
Mm,
Like start with an Instagram account. The
true.
bare minimum. So when people are like, "Where's your stuff at?" Point them to your Instagram account. If they want to order something, they can DM you. And then once you're like, "Okay, this is getting too much. Like there's too many orders or too many for people like messaging me on this social media platform," create an email. Email me here. Once it gets too overwhelming there and you can't like organize your orders, then maybe look at like an e-commerce. If you're doing a web design thing, make a portfolio when you start getting more clientele, or when you're like, okay, I'm making a little bit of money, then put a little bit of that money back into yourself and make your own website or hire somebody to do your website. But you don't need to hire somebody right off the bat. Just get your stuff out there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm very passionate about this.
I can tell. It's for us recording this podcast right now, it's 10:40 and I've never seen this woman more alive in her life.
And this is past my bedtime. I'm usually in bed at 10
Yeah,
o'clock.
me too.
Oof. Um, so man, that we've come a long way from MySpace.
We really have, and hearts semicolon. You know what that is.
That's a life before iPhone cameras, guy. iPhone video. You couldn't take video on your
And
iPhone,
hearts.
guys. It was a struggle.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
a struggle,
I
man.
saw a video the other day of like the Apple products and it was like it was like they went through all the Apple products and I was like, how did we live? Like the iPod Touch was revolutionary. Like we didn't have anything. How did we do that? Like I was like, I had all of
It,
that stuff and like I was so
we're gonna have to
confused.
have a whole nostalgia episode about like, can you believe? Can you believe that you have internet
Oh my
anywhere?
gosh. let me let me let me
No, 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 no. We can't get into it. We
No,
can't get
no,
into
no,
it.
no,
Save
no. I
it.
am saving that,
Okay.
but I'm gonna end my portion of this podcast with this little story. Okay,
Okay.
I was at like a youth
Mm-hmm.
convention or a youth event, and we were playing like if you had to bring the five only five objects on this list with you to a deserted island, which objects would you bring? And they had a lot of random ones: hatchet, rope, Bible, because it was a youth convention. And we're sitting there and everyone's like, oh shoot, what are we gonna bring? Right. And it's like a team event, and like the older ones usually sit in the back. So we're sitting in the back and we're focusing, okay, well, what are you gonna do? This young girl turns around to the older ones in the back. She goes,
You muted yourself, girl.
did you not miss the punch? Did I miss the punch? Okay. She turns around and says, what's a cassette tape? And all of us in the back of my said, you mean a cassette tape? Yeah. What is that? And I'm like,
Ay.
I was like, okay, now I feel old. I actually just had a VHS show up at my work, and we like turned the VHS machine on, and we're like, whoa.
Okay, enough with the nostalgia. We'll save that for another time because I have lots of things to say about
Okay.
VHSs.
Okay.
So look forward to VHS, our little cousin someday, and our older cousin someday.
Yes.
Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Sispatch. I know it's something that not I mean, I think everybody can relate to it in some sort of way because everybody has like a
Mm.
passion project or like a passion or a hobby that they like want to get into or like want to share with other people. And I feel like you can do that. Like just do it. It's going to bring you joy and just do it. And you're going to find a community and a following that you thrive in. So just do it. That's what I would
Just
say.
do it.
Okay. So next time we will see you maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. This has been the Sispatch with Bevin
And Jasmine.
So long. Bye.